focus is key to everything, right? The ability to have time where you are focused on an outcome. As you know, it's easy to get lost in the weeds and your brain just keeps on thinking how something can be better, right? And so you never reach the finish
Absolutely.
line. So for me,
Absolutely.
it's usually get it out there as fast as possible to start getting feedback, whether it's to one customer, to a group of customers, someone on the team. The faster I can start getting feedback, the faster I can improve the product. I always fall back in thinking that I don't need somebody to tell me that it's terrible, right? I have the measuring stick of what's
Right.
terrible, and I need to make sure that it meets a certain standard before I can release it to the world. Well, that's kind of a mistake that I make all the time. So I've been over the past 7 years. I've been working at getting better at getting feedback on my work, right? On the things
Right.
I'm
Right.
building, on the decisions I'm making, the
Right.
design, how
Right.
something functions. And so
Right.
for anyone that's getting into SaaS and looking to build a business, focusing is so important. Being able to produce something, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just
Yep.
something that somebody can immediately give you a response on. And what
Yep.
that's going to do is it could potentially change things
Yeah.
and show you something that you had not even seen.
Hey, Doug, how are you, man?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for asking.
Where are you joining from?
Yep, I am in Southern Maryland,
Yeah.
on the East Coast in the U.S.
Nice. Nice. And how was the day today?
It's a sunny day. The weather here
Yeah.
is starting to get nice, so I appreciate days where sun's shining.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Great day to probably build a nice product out there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorite things, to work outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Let's just probably begin with who you are, what's the background look like, a little bit about what you're building, and then, I mean, I have so many questions around you being a solopreneur. You have been building from last 6 years now. Would love to dive into the whole journey of you being a founder, as well as that product person, who's building this whole thing, right? So probably let's dive into that introduction, and then probably we'll go and dive into the later part of the things.
Sure. Yeah. So, Doug Dosberg, founder
Yeah.
and CEO of HeyTaco. HeyTaco is a peer-to-peer recognition program to help people to celebrate the moments.
Yeah.
I found HeyTaco in 2016. It was a passion project of mine.
Yeah.
I was not trying to start a business. It was just something that I was doing on the side for fun. I had a great
Right.
job. And one day it got to the point where I needed to leave my full-time job to pursue
Hmm.
Hey Taco full-time.
Okay.
Yep. And that was 2016. So here I am 7 years later.
Yeah.
I am now starting to build a team. For many years,
Yeah.
I've been running Hey
Nice.
Taco by myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you know, as many know, COVID for some of us
Hmm.
was a good thing, and
Hmm.
my business kind of took off during COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of people were looking for a solution to help bring their team back together, because for
Yeah.
so many teams, the water cooler was not there anymore. So they needed to
Yeah.
figure out a way to
True.
reconnect
True. True.
and to spark those conversations.
Yeah. No, I think it was like super important to come up with tools like these, because everyone was trying to figure out like how do we make it human, right? And that's where I think that got a hit off. Um, in terms of like scale, like what is the current stats look like that you would be able to share? Like what does that scale look like in Hey Taco?
Uh, User scale or financial scale?
Anything, both of them.
Anything.
I think both of them would be like amazing. But yeah.
Yeah, so currently right now, Hey Taco has thousands of customers all around the world and is a million plus revenue company.
Nice, nice. Congrats to that, man. I think
Thank
that
you.
sounds like a good number for sure. Yeah, and like as you said, right? Yeah, you sort of started it as sort of a passion project, um,
Mhm.
and then you were already working as a designer, if I'm not wrong, right? you
Yep,
were you
that's
were
right.
already working, and you have a background to it, and that we can actually look at the HeyTaco site or even the implementations that you have done. It surely looks like there was an um, I would say craftsmanship is something out there, which comes by default with a designer, right? Would love to know, like, what exactly how did you sort of connect at that point of time, which is 2016, of
Yeah.
solving this problem is what I would love to go a little deeper to it.
Yeah, yeah. So my background's in design, as you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
I studied design in the late '90s at a design
yeah.
school. However, what they were
Nice.
teaching me back then was definitely not what I was going to use in the future, because back then we
Sure.
were all learning how to design with tables, and
Hmm.
shortly afterwards, this CSS took over the market. Everybody started
Right.
focusing on web standards, and the market changed abruptly
Correct.
in a big way. Um,
Hmm.
why and how did I end up on
This
HeyTaco
problem statement.
and
Yeah.
yeah, um, you know, at that point in my life, two things
Hmm.
happened. One,
Hmm.
Slack had kind of just exploded out of nowhere,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
they introduced this idea of an app ecosystem
Hmm.
around a
Inside.
product, right? So
Correct.
you have a
Correct.
phone,
Yeah.
and your phone has the
Yeah.
app ecosystem around the device, right? Well, Slack, much like Shopify and many others
Hmm.
now, well, they introduced this ecosystem around their
Correct.
software. I
Yeah. Which
saw
is more like
this.
integrations with the platform that is already there. Yeah. Sounds good.
Exactly. Yeah. So I saw this as a really cool opportunity. At that point in time, chatbots
Hmm.
were all the
Oh yeah.
rage. Everybody was talking about chatbots. And once again,
Correct.
it's I feel like deja vu. It's happening again now with all the AI that's happening. But
Correct.
7 years ago, I saw chatbots as a really cool thing. Being able to
Hmm.
interact with a program in that program
Sort
to
of response
entertain.
back. Hmm.
Yeah, response back, whether it's entertainment or some kind of educational or something, whatever. I
Right.
thought that
I
was
think the
really cool.
major takeaway on that was like support systems were getting much more better, where we saw like intercom and all of
Yeah,
these people also started having the chatbot. Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I was really excited about it, and I just saw a lot of
Yeah.
cool opportunity. Early on, I used to think of Hey Taco as a chat bot, and it still
Hmm.
kind of is today, because what it's doing is it's like a information broker, if you will. So what it's
Hmm.
doing is
Hmm.
it's the middleman of me
Hmm.
celebrating you or me celebrating my team. It's helping me
Correct.
celebrate, and so
Correct.
Um, I saw that back in 2016. Slack was starting to
Yeah.
build out their ecosystem. Hey Taka
Right.
was one of the early apps in their
Hmm.
in their app directory,
Oh,
which
nice.
which was really helpful, and I think kind of gave Hey Taco an edge in the beginning, because it was
Yeah.
there
Hmm.
being promoted as an app within the
Okay.
app directory.
Okay. So it was more of a early mover because it was like one of a kind, which picked up like one niche, which was, I would say, would go a little bit around human resources and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the category sort of started. Like, do you think that was like a major play to, the adoption that you got in the early days?
Yeah, I was working on an HR product for the company I was working for at the
Oh,
time,
right, right.
and through that, I saw the industry as a whole. And what I
Hmm.
saw, Arnab, it was a
Hmm.
lot of products that were outdated, monolithic, and that were
Okay.
built and sold to
Hmm.
HR people.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
what I wanted to do was
Hmm.
to do the opposite, right? I wanted something that was not monolithic, that was
Right.
specialized, right?
Right.
Focused,
Hmm.
and was built for the people rather than the
Hmm.
HR person. And so that was
Right.
my approach to more of a bottom up type of strategy,
Correct.
trying to sell to the individual users rather than the
Hmm.
HR person.
Hmm. Hmm. That really makes sense. And like, just to probably from your eye or from your world, what does that industry actually look like? What is the biggest problem that everyone is sort of dealing with when it comes to, let's say, HR softwares, or like we've seen a lot of these companies getting built, where we have moved from the supplying leaves
Yeah.
on some of these softwares. Now we have moved on to being more human and stuff like that. I just want to, like, if someone is listening to this podcast, if you have to like explain like what does this industry actually looks like,
Hmm.
Would love to know about it. Like, what is that PM sort of hat that you have, and you've understood like this is what industry and the problems basically look like over there.
Yeah, I'll tell you the biggest problem that I've seen over the past 7 years, and what I
Yeah.
hear from prospects and people coming to HeyTaco is
Mm.
uh, is engagement. Right?
Mm.
People want a certain amount of engagement in a tool, and when they don't
Okay.
get it, they go looking for something else. And
Okay.
I'll tell you the secret here is really simple. Um,
Okay.
if you want people to engage and use your thing, you better
Yeah.
make it fun for them, right? Make them want to use it because
For sure.
right, if people feel that they have to use a tool because they're being
Mm.
told to by someone in HR, it's not
Mm.
going to be fun, and
Mm.
the engagement is not even going to be genuine, right? And so what
Mm.
you really want is you want that experience to be fun for the person, because if it's
Okay.
fun, the engagement is going to be much more genuine.
Right. Right. No, totally makes sense. And like, apart from this, like for example, let's say, what are some of the major like the personas that are coming into you, right? Like who are buying it. Apart from engagement, let's say as an overall HR industry, in
Hmm.
that, what are some of the bigger things that are out there to solve these problems?
Yeah, there's problems in each vertical, right? So I'm just touching one vertical here, and that's
Sure.
peer-to-peer recognition. And honestly, last night I came to a moment where I was like, you know what? I'm in the
Yeah.
business of celebration. Hey Taco is a
Yeah.
celebration business. Our job
Correct.
is to help you celebrate those moments, whether it's with your team or with an individual, with yourself, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That's just one channel to
Hmm.
um,
Optimize right now. Hmm.
right, bringing people together. That's
Hmm.
really one of the biggest things I'm seeing, and the challenges with this new world we're in
Sure.
right now. Here we
Hmm.
are, we're doing a podcast virtually. It's
Yeah.
working,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
day to day activity, especially for creative type people, right?
Hmm.
Brainstorming on a whiteboard is really difficult virtually, right? And a
Correct.
lot of
Correct. So true.
teams, yeah. And so going back to your original question, what are the biggest problems? I'll tell you, the biggest problems are the companies that are more than 4 years old, right?
Okay.
Pre-COVID companies that were
Okay.
founded in 2019 and
Hmm.
beyond, right?
Before. Yeah. Yep.
Those companies that
Hmm.
were built upon culture, right? Those
Hmm.
companies that
Hmm.
had a
Hmm.
strong culture are hurting right now because now they're hurting if they're a remote company, because what they
Yeah.
were doing before, right? The game rooms, the ping pong tables, the foosball,
Correct. Correct.
people wanted to go to work because work was fun. Well,
True.
now they don't have that. They don't have that water cooler. They don't have that mechanism that brought people
Hmm.
together, that sparked conversations. And so
Right.
these companies that are built on culture are suffering right now, and they're looking for
Hmm.
anything and everything to bring their people back together, to connect
Correct.
them, to spark
Yeah.
those conversations.
Correct.
And you know, companies found after COVID, they're built differently, right?
Hmm.
People are building, you know,
The culture is sort of embedded into working remote, because since the first day itself you have that habit, because you already like four people team or something like that, and you're sort of hiring at them from any part of the world, and sort of
mhm.
start building on top of it. I think because the remote sort of idea is so embedded and sort of also educated in nature, that it is much more easier to get started after, let's say, 2021, because the education has also been done. Do you see anything, um, do you see people are sort of looking into this momentum more, because now, because of tools like HeyTaco, we can actually sort of replicate what we would have it in offices and stuff. Do you see that is happening, because people are also getting educated about the remote work as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna be a challenge to replicate the things that
Hmm.
we've lost, right? And so
Hmm.
we have to think of new ways to build connection.
Okay.
Um,
True.
yeah, I'm just now building a team, and one
Hmm.
of the important things for me was to build a team that included local people, so that we can go to an office and work on stuff
Yeah.
together. Because as a creative person, I
Yeah.
feed off other people's energy, right? You and me in a
True.
room together, we're going to
True.
come out with amazing things, right?
For sure.
You and me at a whiteboard in a room, eat some tacos, magic's going to
Yeah.
happen. it's
Yeah.
hard to replicate those moments
Hmm.
through
True.
technology. No, I'm not saying it can't be
Hmm.
done, but it's just we
Yeah.
have to work a little bit harder. We have to find new
Hmm.
tools, um,
Yeah.
and take you know use new techniques.
Yeah, true. I think this also, uh, we also probably need to crack a little bit of behavior as well, where we actually create a new behavior altogether, where maybe the tool becomes like so seamless that it feels like, okay, this is a new world altogether. I'm learning something new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And like, where are you um, in terms of hiring? Like, what kind of persons are you hiring? What kind of team that you're trying to build? Would
Yeah,
love to know about that as well.
yeah. I was advised to build a team that can run HeyTaco without me, right? In case something
Hmm.
happened to me, right?
Right.
This is the plan, right? The plan
Yeah.
is it's the what if something happens to Doug plan, and so
Hmm.
that's what I'm working on now. But I also during COVID hit a capacity wall where I
Yeah.
was doing 20 to 30 demo calls a week, and
Right.
in doing so, I'm not building. And my
Hmm.
strength is building stuff. That's what
Hmm.
I do. So I
Right.
need to get back to building,
Hmm.
which means I need to find people that will help me build the create
Yeah.
capacity because I've got a backlog of stuff to build. And I also want
True.
to focus on different verticals. Right
Hmm.
now, Hey Taco is a celebration company.
Right.
My goal is to help people celebrate those moments, but there's
Sure.
also other other other
Verticals
verticals
that
I
you
want
have.
to
Yeah.
yeah that I want to experiment with, and it's hard to do that and experiment when I am dug in tech, dug in customer
Hmm.
service, dug in
True.
marketing, and so I've brought in a
Relatable.
real right. I've brought in a really great customer focused person. She's
Nice.
handling customer relations, building those relationships, and
Hmm.
it's hard for me to hand this piece over because
Yeah.
that has been one of my favorite things over the past 7 years has
True.
been talking to the customers, learning and
Yeah.
hearing their problems firsthand and being on
Hmm.
the front line. And
Hmm.
doing that has really helped me kind of see those problems, but also try to solve those problems that people were having.
Sure. Yeah, I think the last time also we had the same chat, right?
Yeah.
Where we were talking about, even I had this sort of a point of epiphany, which is, it, as a designer, it helped me so much to being like a salesperson now,
Yeah.
right? Where you know what you're selling, and then you probably going with some insights that this is what and how they're thinking and processing things. Then you go to
Yeah.
the second call to probably handhold them and show them this is what the product looks like. Over there,
Yeah.
you see that you look at them, sort of, what do you call, you look at them using the product, and then you figure out as a designer again that, oh, this is not working or that is not working, right? So you're sort of going as a salesperson to
Yeah.
represent your company, but you're essentially coming out as a UX researcher if you were talking to a lot
Yeah.
of users.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. As a designer, you always fall back to designing for yourself, right? And you think
Yeah.
that the things that you want is what everybody else wants, right? And sometimes that's not always the case. Yeah,
True.
and then it's funny to just to look at like the problems that you have, right, with your product or your whatever your service. Well, those are problems you've created, right, because of
Hmm.
design
True.
decisions that you've
True.
made with the product.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. True, true, true. I think that becomes like a great sort of UX research without even calling it a UX research as such, because you're too
yeah.
integrated in the products that you can just quickly get those inside and just put it out there. I
Hmm.
think that is amazing. So that's one, right? That you're getting a, I would say, customer support, customer relationship person. Who else? Who else is
Yep.
the next person that you're thinking of?
Yep, customer relations support their developer.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing
Oh,
all the development all these years.
right.
That's the black box here.
Yeah.
Letting somebody into the code base, showing them
Sure.
how I've built this thing and how I've been scaling it. It's a little scary, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity for somebody to come in and judge your work. But it gets
Yeah.
to a certain point where you have to do it,
You
right?
have
Or
to.
else
Yeah.
or else you start sabotaging your business, right? For a few years,
Okay.
I'm like, am I impeding the growth of this company? Like, if I remove myself and put a team they're going to
Mm.
probably be able to take this thing to the next level and
True,
triple, maybe even 10x revenue, right? But I've
true,
been
true.
wanting to do it all. I've been
Yeah,
wanting to do it all. I've been wanting to
mm,
have that control, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it just got to the point in the past year or so where I I told myself I can't do it all anymore. I had
yeah.
to like look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what, you got to let go. You got to let go. You
True.
got to let people come in to help,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the crazy thing about all of this is that I'm building a team product, right?
Mm,
A tool
mm,
that helps
mm.
teams connect and celebrate moments, yet
Yeah,
I don't even have a team.
yeah,
So I think by having a team, it's going to help me. It's going to help the product. It's going to help HeyTaco. So I'm super
yeah.
excited about building a team.
Yeah, I can like so much relate to you when you said that, giving someone that, this is now they can take it up. I feel like if someone as a builder, right? Let's say a designer, if they know how to code, they can actually control the quality that is going out. I think that is something that I have for sure seen. At least on the first versions of all we have, I was the one who was writing the front end code, and that actually helped me to sort of at least have those pixel perfect stuff, so that becomes the base, and then on top of it, people start building on top of it. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really
true,
important to
true,
build a strong foundation, right? And make sure that,
for sure.
what they're building on is not fragile.
True, true, true. No, absolutely, absolutely. And like, how has it been from like last 7 years being a solopreneur? um, what does that world look like if I had to um, sort of put it that way? Yeah,
What does what look like? Sorry, I missed that.
like the solopreneurship, right? Like you
Hmm.
wake up, you sort of have so many things to figure out. You have marketing, you have sort of sales calls that you're going into. Then also figuring it out. Okay, what would my top of the funnel would look like? What all
Yeah.
other stuff is happening? Then you have so many customer feedback that is coming into. You need
Yeah.
to work on those as well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like what does that world look like? Let's say if someone has to imagine to start a SaaS today, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing it alone. What does that world look like? Is something that I would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's great. I think focus is key to everything, right? The
yeah,
ability to have time where you are focused on on an outcome.
hmm,
As you know, it's easy to get lost in the weeds and your brain just keeps on thinking how something can be better, right? And so you never
hmm.
reach the finish
Absolutely,
line. So for
absolutely.
me, it's usually get it out there as fast as possible to start getting feedback, whether it's to one customer, to a group of customers, someone on the team. The faster I can start getting feedback, the faster I can improve the product. I always fall back in thinking that I don't need somebody to tell me that it's terrible, right?
Hmm.
I have that the measuring stick of what's
Right.
terrible, and I need to make sure that it meets a certain standard before I can release it to the world. Well,
Hmm, hmm,
that's kind of a mistake that I make all the time. So
hmm,
I've been over the past 7 years. I've been working at getting better at getting
hmm.
feedback on my work, right? On the things
Right,
I'm
right,
building, on the decisions I've made, and the
right,
design, that how
right,
something functions. And so
right.
for anyone that's getting into a SaaS and looking to build a business,
Hmm,
focusing is so important. Being able to produce something, right? It doesn't
hmm.
have to be perfect, right? Just
Yeah,
something that somebody can immediately give you a response on. And what
yeah,
that's going to do is it could potentially change things
yeah.
and show you something that you had not even seen.
Yeah, yeah. No, so true. I think early feedbacks are like super important. But what does that process look like when you were building it alone? Like, is it as you said, like you did go to the customer? I think
Hmm.
even before that, there is one level of I would say one level of feedback that you might be looking for.
Yeah.
In those cases, what do you used to do, or is it like you build something, like let's say a prototype or something, and then you move to the customers and ask for feedback, or
Yeah.
there was someone that you used to ask or something like that?
Yeah.
Because that would happen a lot when you're building it solo, right? Just to
Yeah.
take an opinion of, yeah, what does that
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah. So what that looks like is it depends on what it is that I'm building. If I'm improving something, I'm going to improve it with a customer. and I'm going to improve
Mm.
it with a customer that's been supporting my business for 6, 7 years
Nice.
because I trust them, because
Hmm.
they've trusted me for so long, right? Anyone
True.
that's been
True.
supporting my business for 5 plus years, if they have
Yeah.
any feedback about the
Mm.
way I'm operating, the way something looks,
Yeah.
how something could be better, I am all ears. I want to hear, and
Yeah.
I'm going to try to improve for them. Now, if it's
Yeah.
something where it's like, um, it'd be nice if it could do this, but it's not going to change some. It's a nice to have. Nice
Mm.
to haves, I'll kind of put in a bucket, and then once I have a bunch of customers asking for something, then I'll start feeling like, okay, maybe I need to improve this or make this better or create this new thing. So it really depends on what I'm working on. So I'm working on a project right now, big project I've been working on for
Mm.
a while, and
Mm.
today, or actually tomorrow, Wednesday, it's going to
Yeah.
be tested with a customer, and
Huh.
this is not normally how I operate.
Yeah.
This has been months of work,
Mm.
and now a
Mm.
customer is going to see it. And you know what? The customer
Yeah.
will be like, "This is terrible," right? Hopefully, they won't think it's terrible, but
Hopefully not.
that's
Yeah.
right. But that's the risk you run when you wait
Yeah.
and you work on something for
Mm.
days, weeks, months, sometimes
Mm.
years before you even
Yeah.
reveal it to a customer.
Mm.
So I'm a big proponent to getting it out there as fast as possible to learn and then to
True.
improve. Um,
True.
yeah. So I spend a lot of time interfacing with customers.
Mm.
I serve. I'm here to serve the customers. I've created a tool that they trust, that
Yeah.
they are paying for, and so my job is to make sure that they're getting the most out of it. Right?
Mm.
They're finding value in the tool, and um, I want to know how it can be better for them. I always ask people, if you had a magic wand and you could wave that wand and make HeyTaco better, what would you do?
Yeah.
Just one thing. I don't need a list of
Yeah.
stuff. I just want that one thing that you would
Right.
change or do that would make this
Right.
better for you.
Yep, yep. I think that's a very solid question to ask when you actually go and ask like your customers like, what do you think that next thing I need to build, right?
Yeah.
I think the, it will just pop up their head without
Yeah.
even like getting like into different thoughts or something. They will like, oh, this is something that is missing every day. I'm
Yeah.
frustrated about it and stuff like that. I think that's a amazing way to do it.
It is, but it can also be a trap too. And I found
Hmm.
out this the hard way is customers typically don't know
Some
what they want, right? They don't know what
correct.
they need, right? And so
True.
sometimes you need to tell them what they need as the
True. True.
solution.
True.
Now their problems, right? Hearing their problems is one thing, but when they think they know the solution to their
Hmm.
problems, they're
Hmm.
not always right. And so
Yeah.
I always want to hear what the problems are rather than tell me your
Hmm.
solutions, because I might have a better solution, but we
Hmm.
won't know unless you tell me the problems you're having. So I'm very
Yeah.
focused on problems and
Yeah.
opportunities. What problems do you have, and what opportunities are there for us to make things better?
Yeah. Nice. 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 Pretty cool. I think you also mentioned right that you are moving towards like different problem statements now, like
Yep.
in terms of wherever HeyTaco is right now, and then you want to expand into like different problems.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how are you sort of looking at it? Is it because you're trying to sort of tap into a different market? Are you trying to tap into like different personas? Um, what are you trying to sort of expand into, and like what does that method also looks like is it obviously like if you have a system like this can also get expanded into something like this. It can be also used into a different way altogether, but like in your case, how are you looking at it and what does that method look like?
Yeah. So this is how I'm looking at it, Arnav. It's
Hmm.
actually
Yeah.
pretty easy lens that I've put on. My lens is, how can we
Hmm.
gamify something, make it more
Yeah.
fun, and make it
Hmm.
so people want to use it.
Oh,
That's really it. Those
nice.
three things: gamify it, make it fun for
Yeah.
people, and that's what you can
True.
get that from the gamification, and then make
Sure.
it so that people want to use it, not that they're being told to use it. And
Hmm.
if I can fill those three criterias, I think can really approach any vertical, right? Whether it's
Hmm.
surveys or
Okay.
um, I mean, you can really apply that to anything.
Yep. Yep. I think this totally sounds good. um Other thing that I would love to ask you is that, uh, as a PM, like let's say when you're building the product, um, apart from like the customer feedback that you get and talking to them, is there anything else that you look at while you're building the product? Like, is it like, how do you think of the roadmaps that are coming in? Like, what does that look like? Is it always, there are like two types, right? One is that what customer feedback is coming in, or let's say, this is the new opportunity that will get built if we build this feature. It could be like feature parities and things like that. Like, what does that road mapping method, in case, in your case, basically looks like how do you choose to, like, today I'm going to build this versus in next quarter I'm going to do that and stuff like that? Like, what does that journey look like
Yeah.
as a PM? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's right now it's currently based off gut feeling, right? So we
Mhm.
have a backlog, we have tickets that come in, there's stuff that's broken, but as long as the core of the
Mhm.
product is working, right?
Mhm.
The thing that people are paying for, right? Um, I feel good, right? And I am very I want to be the best at
Mhm.
celebration, right? I want to be the best at this one thing. I don't want to be
Yeah.
a product that has feature after feature, and you know every feature is mediocre. I want to specialize in one thing and be the best
Yeah.
at it, right? And so what I
Yeah.
do is I ask myself, okay, anything that we're working on, right?
Mhm.
Is it going to help with the core of the product, the core, our mission, our purpose, to be the
Right.
best at helping people celebrate one another? Because if it
True.
doesn't help with the core, we're not going to
Mhm.
work on it. Um,
Mhm.
I built over the years. I've built features just to test and see like how people would react, and I've removed them. I have a survey tool that I built in the HeyTaco, and I'll tell you
Mhm.
what, it's it's more or less the development on it has ended. Right, I have not
Mhm.
improved it in over a
Okay.
year. Every
Okay.
day, I get such good feedback on how it could
Yeah.
be better. And
Hmm.
I've
Interesting.
actually created a backlog of
Huh.
how to build a perfect survey tool that people actually want to use
Hmm. Interesting.
by
Interesting.
testing the feature in HeyTaco.
Right.
And so I have this ability because I have the inflow of users and
Hmm.
people love to reach out to me and share their opinions
Hmm.
about stuff.
Yeah.
I have the people coming in that want
Hmm.
to talk to me, so I
Yeah.
can test really anything and get feedback
Yeah.
and see if there's a need, or if there's a desire for a um, a solution that is fun, gamified, that
Yeah.
people want to use.
Right. Right. No, I
Gamific.
think this. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say gamification is always going to be a part of any
Hmm.
HeyTaco product, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's involves leaderboards or levels or what, gamification is
Yeah.
so powerful, right? It
Yeah.
makes people crave more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so my approach to HeyTaco was to gamify it, game design thinking, game theory. That's going to be my approach to any new thing I work on, whether it's a feature or a new product. It's like, how can we make this fun by making it a game? It's funny. I have
Yeah.
some people reach out to me like, hey, I really like the Hey Taco game. It's great. Right. So people
Oh,
see the game,
nice.
which is, at first I was kind of like, I'd get mad. Like, it's not a game. This is a serious tool that, thousands of people use. Right. And then at the end of the day, I was like, it's
That's
kind
how
of
they're
cool that,
perceiving it. Basically,
yeah,
that's how they're
that's
perceiving it.
right. That's how they're perceiving it, right? It's that
Yeah.
and so it's exciting for me to see that, right? How people
Yeah.
perceived Hey Taco.
Yeah. I think this is so interesting. Is that one of the things that I have taken out of this whole conversation was, every time you talked about something, I think
Mm-hmm.
there's this one word that always came up was basically focus, right? You have this vision in your brain, right, where in your mind is that this is what Hey Taco looks like, and every decision that you're taking is basically based on that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Which
I think, yeah,
which could be a good thing or a bad thing, it could create tunnel vision if I'm using Hey Taco as the the tool to build any new thing. So I have some ideas for some new products that I hope, with building a team and having an R&D
yeah,
uh, budget, will allow me to kind of experiment with some of these
Mm.
radical new product ideas. Because honestly, I haven't worked on a new product in
Yeah,
seven
long
years.
time.
7 years.
Yeah,
So
true.
I'm pretty excited about being able to unleash myself, if you will, right, and
Mm.
focus on other areas of the market because the market's changed.
Yeah,
7 years ago, the things look different. Things look different today.
true.
Things are have changed, and I just see a lot more opportunity out there to help people
Sure.
um, not only feel appreciated, but help people connect and help people feel like they're part of a team. To help people feel like they're being heard. Right.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
that.
Mm.
To help people feel a sense of belonging, like they
Right.
belong working with you, working with me, working with their companies, and so.
Correct.
Um, there's a lot of opportunity in the space that
For
HeyTaco
sure.
dabbles in. But at the end of the day, I just want HeyTaco to be good at that one thing, and that is helping people
Right.
celebrate those
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah. I just want to tell my listeners right now, like if they're listening to this podcast, the excitement in your face is like amazing.
Uh,
It feels like you have so much fun building things. Is that you're like pretty passionate about it?
I do. I really enjoy this, and if there's anybody in the DC, Virginia area, Northern Virginia area that is interested in working on HeyTaco projects, I am
Yeah.
looking for people to help with dev
Perfect.
capacity, marketing. I don't do any outbound marketing, but that's definitely something I'm interested in doing
Hmm.
going forward.
Hmm. And like this also means that all of this was basically grown very organically, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, if you can
I
touch base on that as well,
yeah
because that was pretty
I
interesting the last time I had a chat with you.
yeah. So this is all the growth has been more or less organic. I've always considered it like a
Hmm.
barbecue growth method, right? So
Okay.
you put in the ribs on the smoker for 10 hours, right? So
Yeah.
it's definitely takes time, but
Hmm.
with persistence, focus,
Hmm.
and some time, you get
Hmm.
rewarded, and that's where I'm
For
at
sure.
now for being persistent and focused, and 7 years later.
For sure.
Hmm. Yeah. Um,
Cool.
but what was your question about
No, no, I, yeah,
just the growth? Yeah, the growth
yeah.
is all inbound, and
Hmm.
it's um, it's the result of having an application within two ecosystems. That would be the
Hmm.
Slack ecosystem and then also the Microsoft Teams
Microsoft
ecosystem.
Teams.
Those
Correct.
ecosystems are a healthy source. They're a healthy
Hmm.
channel for prospects,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and anyone that's interested in SaaS or building a company, I would always recommend looking and seeing if there's an opportunity to build a product within the Slack ecosystem or the Shopify ecosystem, right?
Correct.
Shopify's got a healthy ecosystem,
Yeah,
and you'd be
absolutely.
surprised. Yeah, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised. Some of these products and teams and the ability and the
Hmm.
capabilities that they've built in how they're doing
Yeah.
in a financial way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've like heard a lot. I think Shopify developer ecosystem is also very connected. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
like 7,000 apps out there, and there are like 7,000 app owners building like amazing stuff. And like even financially, it is like amazing out there. Of what I know from outside, looking at the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think this is something for sure a good takeaway, that if you can sort of get integrated with things that people are already using it, it becomes so much easier to get into their sort of daily work life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's you want to go to the intersection. You like the so I was always as a kid I was always fascinated by the guy selling flowers at the intersection, right? When you're driving,
Right.
and I always wonder like this guy's probably doing good. That's why he's out here
Yeah,
every day selling flowers. And you know why?
yeah,
Because he's going to the busiest intersection, right? And that's kind of how I see
right.
the app. That's how I see the app
Mm,
directories. They're an intersection that are super busy that
right,
people are driving by, and if you're there and you look fun and exciting, people are gonna
right.
they're gonna knock on your door.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. No, absolutely. I think this is a This is a very interesting takeaway. I can totally imagine a shots out of this. But yeah, I think that is amazing. Cool. I think we have already passed like half an hour, so let's
Okay.
just go into some of these quick questions about
Yeah, yeah.
you. So it will be like, so I'll just start with the first one. What does your typical day look like as a solopreneur? Like, let's say
Yeah,
you
my
wake up and then what does, yeah.
Yeah, my so I now that I have help, my days have changed, and now I have more time to do stuff. So I'm
Yeah,
uh, I'm doing more stuff around the house.
yeah,
The grass is no longer 2 feet high. It's getting cut now and on a regular basis, and
nice.
things are looking better around my homestead. But my
Mhm,
typical day is waking up, checking to make sure there's no problems, and then
mhm.
looking to see if I have any calls. I still try to do some customer calls,
Mhm.
and then I'll work on building, writing code. And I'm still in
Yeah,
the code every day, writing code,
right.
improving code, refactoring code. And now with the chance of bringing in new developers, I'm
Hmm.
focused on cleaning up code and putting in
Yeah,
some good comments and notes just to kind of explain why certain decisions were made in the code.
yeah, yeah,
And just making it as easy as possible for somebody to step in and work with me. My job
yeah,
now is to enable people, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
the people that I'm
True.
bringing in to help me, well, they can't help me unless I'm helping them. And so I'm
Yeah,
very focused on enabling the people that I'm bringing onto the team. So I have a
true, true.
spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet that's called enablement and the things that I
Yeah,
can do to make other people's lives on my team better and
yeah,
easier.
yeah. I think this sounds amazing because that's the only way to sort of connect with them. That this is what everything looks like, and you sort of enabling them rather than telling them, okay, this is what we need to do. Right? It's
Yeah.
it's more about this is why we are doing it.
Exactly. And I'm a big believer in servant leadership, right? So
Hmm.
I'm serving my employees
Yeah.
the more I serve them, the more I help them, the better results they're going to have.
For sure, for sure. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds pretty exciting for sure. Um, what is like that one thing that you absolutely love about your job as a
Yeah.
founder right now?
I love this space and
Yeah,
only because this space it's an old space, right? HR, that's kind of where
yeah,
HeyTaco falls in.
hmm,
It's an old space with a lot of historical, I'm not going to say baggage because that just sounds
hmm,
terrible, but there's a lot of people, a lot of products in the
yeah,
space that are
hmm,
legacy that have been doing the same thing for many years. And
right,
it's kind of exciting for me to show people, hey, there's a new way to get to the outcome that you want. And that is that
hmm,
people are more engaged, happier, more connected. Um, you know, and so it's exciting for me to kind of introduce the idea and then to be there alongside as they're learning about it. So
yeah,
the people in the space excite me. Introducing people to the idea of this
yeah,
type of technology, very exciting. And then
yeah,
just seeing people succeed, right? Seeing
hmm.
people succeeding because their
Super
team is,
important.
yeah, seeing that it's important for me. And I think that's
Hmm.
why you still see this
Yeah,
excitement on my face
yeah,
because
yeah,
I have customers reaching out, thanking me all the time, sharing stuff on social media. And that just
hmm,
reinforces that, you know what, the work I'm doing matters, right? The
hmm,
things I'm doing are helping people and it's
hmm,
fulfilling for me. And it makes me want to
yeah,
keep on doing this and keep on trying harder. My, my, my purpose is just to help people. That's when I feel like I'm helping you, helping someone,
yeah.
that's when I feel
Hmm.
most fulfilled.
For sure, for sure. Um, I think this is just I'm just smiling all this while when you're saying all of this, right? Because it's again like so relatable that there's a reason of why we exist, and sort of like
Hmm.
this is the reason why I'm going back to my bed sleeping like as a baby, that because I've done something you know in the day for someone out there. So I think that's pretty exciting. What are some of the cool things that you are currently solving, let's say in terms of the product? And what is that two three problem statements that you're currently sort of solving and gonna launch in a few days or so?
Yeah. So the one big thing right now that I've been working on that is going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks is a way to celebrate groups of people, right?
Hmm.
I'm in a space of peer-to-peer recognition. That's peer-to-peer. That's one-to-one, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge opportunity for one-to-many celebration,
Hmm.
right? Me
Yeah.
recognizing a group of people, me recognizing my team, and celebrating collectively.
Hmm.
Most of the products on the market, if not all, are focused on me recognizing another person. But it's so
Right.
hard because there's so many people involved with success, right? Very
Hmm.
seldom is it one or two people that are helping you achieve the outcome you want. And so
Correct.
I've had many people over the years say, hey, it would be great if I can recognize and celebrate my whole team.
Hmm.
The,
Okay.
the problem I've had with HeyTaco is I've added
Yeah.
the scarcity component, right?
Okay.
Having only
Yeah.
5 tacos that you can use each day, that scarcity
Oh.
component
Hmm.
prevents you from being able to recognize more than 5 people a day.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so this was almost like an opportunity from a problem I've created,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm, hmm.
I created this
Oh,
problem where
right.
people, right?
That
So I've created
it's
this
the classic thing of turning the bug into feature.
exactly. So I've created this problem where people want more, right? They want to
Yeah.
give more, which is great because I want to support givers. I want people to give, but the
Yeah.
scarcity in HeyTaco, that mechanism was really important to the product's success, right? The fact that
Correct.
you only have 5 of this thing that you can give each day,
That you
well,
can give.
what that did
Hmm.
is it created value. It made that thing even more
Right.
valuable to you, the giver, and also the receiver. And so the
Right.
new thing that's going to be rolling out here in the next couple of weeks called HeyTaco stickers is going to be a
Oh,
way for
nice.
you to
Hmm.
recognize your whole team, to recognize groups of people. And it's
Right.
going to be less about peer-to-peer recognition and it's going to be more about peer-to-peers.
Got it. It's more
So it's
about celebrating the teams rather than individual sort of kudos that you sort of give to each other.
exactly. Yep.
Got it.
So
Got
I'm
it.
really
Got it.
excited about that.
Yeah. When is it launching, or is it launched already?
No, it's not launched yet. I'm testing it with a few customers just to make sure, it's working correctly. And then it's going to be introduced to the current user base, and it's actually going to be
Oh,
replacing existing feature called gifs. Gifs
okay.
was kind of like version 1 of HeyTaco
Oh,
stickers, and I actually have just a kind of sneak peek of had stickers made of
hmm.
HeyTaco stickers, and here's one of my favorite ones here. It's a pack
Oh,
of
nice. Oh,
taco.
nice.
This is a taco
Yeah.
bouquet. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to give digital versions of these stickers, but I also have stacks and stacks of real stickers that people will
Yeah.
be able to email me, and I may or may not send.
Those look cute for sure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Um, what is that one thing that you recently learned, and you had a realization that, I've been doing this wrong all this while I was building the product? If you would like to just share about it a little bit, like if you can just go back and be like, this last few weeks, this was this one thing that I learned, and I would love to change it for, upcoming life life for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I had this revelation a while ago, but it is I'm constantly reminded, and that is to build things for the future, right? So a lot of the stuff I've built over the past 7 years, I built just in time to solve a problem that day, right?
Hmm.
And so my code reflects that. Now it's
Hmm.
hard when you're first getting started to think about the
Hmm.
future 7 years later, because I mean, what are the chances of
Understanding what is going to come.
exactly? You just don't know, so you can't predict the future. But what you can do is you can document stuff and explain
Hmm.
your decisions, and not only will those notes and messages that you take in the early days help potential new teammates in the future, but they can also help you, right? And remind
Hmm.
yourself some of the
Right.
decisions you've made, because 7 years ago I made some decisions that, I mean, well, 7 years ago I was a different designer, I was a different developer, I was a different person. And so
Absolutely.
going back and looking at the code, I sometimes find code, I'm like, I can't believe I did that, or I don't know why I did that. And so um, it's hard to document decisions right in the beginning because you just want to get the market. It's all about getting the market as fast as possible, getting feedback.
True.
Documenting stuff slows you down, and so it's
Yeah.
figuring out a way to do it in a way that doesn't slow you down, but
Hmm.
also equips you for the future.
Hmm. Did you crack something over there? Like, what do you think? What is the best way to sort of build as well as document?
Uh, I just make it simple. I don't have a tool or a product where I do any of this. It's in the code where this decision was made. That way, it's
Okay.
timely,
Then
right? So
commenting something out there itself that this is why I did it, sort
exactly,
of a
yeah.
thing.
And I write it in a way that um, that explains the why, right?
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
because that's usually what people want to know. They want to know why was it. It's not that it's wrong but
Hmm.
people just
Sure.
knowing why it was made
Yeah. Yeah.
is a helpful. It's helpful.
Yeah. And that's how I think everything starts, right? Is that why did you even do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Why?
Right?
Why taco? Right. I get that all the time. Why tacos? Why not, peaches or strawberries, bananas, why a taco? So
Yeah. Yeah.
explaining the why is important.
Yeah. I think that gives a follow up question to me. Why tacos?
Why tacos? I, I knew early on that I wanted to be
Yeah.
different, right?
Okay.
The whole Steve Jobs thing,
Yeah.
think different, right? I knew I wanted to
Think
be
different.
different. And
Mm.
I knew that I wanted to create a type of economy, some kind of
Okay.
microeconomy where there's
Got it.
currency, right? And so,
That goes to the base of gamification, which is the again the entire product that you're trying to build. Got it. But then go ahead.
yeah, and so I went through the list of emojis at that point in time, and the one category that just kept on I just kept on falling back on was the food category. And
Oh,
the reason
nice.
why, yeah, the food, all the food emojis just kept on catching my eye. And the reason
Yeah.
why is there's nothing that brings us together better than food, right? We sit down and
Mm.
eat together. Food brings people together. And
Yeah.
that was really what I wanted Hey Taco to be
Yeah.
about. I wanted Hey
Yeah.
Taco to be about bringing people together. Food brings people
Yeah.
together. And at that point, the taco emoji had just been added
Yeah.
to the emoji
Correct.
pack, that Slack
Correct.
had.
Correct.
And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I love tacos. Who doesn't love tacos?
True.
It's
True.
going to be a taco.
For
Tacos is
sure.
it.
For sure. That is
Hmm.
that is such an amazing story, and I think this also goes back to the behavior that every time you need to celebrate anything, I need a party, and party has food.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Taco
Yeah.
parties. I'm all about taco parties. I just went and picked up a bunch of taco stuff for my wife this morning. She's an
Yeah.
agent doing an open house, and she does a whole taco theme, and so
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
of course
nice.
I'm going to support that, right? I took over my taco sign for her that lights up. It says tacos. Like my family is
Nice.
tacos are pretty ingrained in my family, except my
Yeah.
daughter who loves
Yeah.
to remind me all the time that she hates tacos. Now I think it's just I think it's one of these things where she knows it gets under my skin,
Yeah.
but she loves whenever we have taco night. We got to make something
Yeah.
special for her because she does not like tacos.
For sure. For sure.
One day,
With
one day
that,
she
yeah.
what yeah, one day
Good.
she's gonna like tacos and she's gonna appreciate Dad's taco business.
Yeah. Yeah. Because taco itself is sort of bringing food in your house. Nice. Nice. That's amazing. I think with that amazing story, I think that was a great end. Would love to ask. I have like no more questions. I think I
Okay.
thoroughly enjoyed the whole conversations that we had. Would love to ask like what do you think about the podcast? Did you like um, talking to me, and like did you also got a chance to explore yourself as well with these questions, and probably tell our listeners that why they should listen to this podcast.
That's great. I'll tell you, you reached out to me and
Yeah.
I'd already known you, right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
you do a lot of outbound stuff. You're very involved in social media, and I've been watching
Yeah.
you. So when you reached out to me, I was like, oh wow, this is cool, and I was
Yeah.
super excited. And I went down and fell in the rabbit hole of learning more and more about you and the projects you're
Mm.
working on, and was just really
Yeah,
fascinated. So for me, it
yeah,
was just fun to talk to somebody that's kind of like in, we have a lot of similarities, right?
yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
similarities,
absolutely. It
and
starts from designer, then
yeah,
founder. So it's
yeah,
like, yeah, we both are designer turned founder. So yeah, I think it goes way back itself. Yeah, I
yeah,
think the roots are pretty same.
roots are the same. Design founders, I appreciate, I understand, and I support. Uh, because it can be. It's. I would say, as a designer, it can be harder to be a
Hmm.
founder, right? Because you have
Yeah,
much stronger opinions about stuff, right? So
yeah,
it could slow you down and prevent you from getting to market and stuff like
true.
that. So at times I've had to kind of like take my designer hat off and
Hmm.
just be like, you know what, I'm going to be a user. Let's get this out there working,
Yeah,
and we won't worry about what it looks like right now.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's
there's
that's like
challenges.
the even I've learned it the hard way for sure. But yeah, I think that's also a method. Sort of we go back and now train ourselves that you know sit back the user let the user tell you like
Yeah.
what is right or wrong. So yeah, for sure. But yeah, go
Um,
ahead, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was gonna make one more point. I think
Yeah,
that just seeing the stuff that you're doing has been inspiring for me.
yeah,
So I appreciate that, and thank you for
awesome.
what you're doing in the industry.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much again, Doug. I think this was an amazing and sort of so much relatable conversation that I had today, and it felt like a therapy session from founder to founder, just to understand like the other side of the world as well. So yeah, thank you for joining.
You're welcome. Thank you.